Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I'm here at the Collider Media Studio at the Kia Telluride Supper Suite in Park City with the people behind Ironbark. First of all, I want to say congratulations on the movie. You guys world premiered last night. What is that experience like, premiering in a room with, like 1,000 people or 1,200 people?
Well, I quite enjoyed it, actually, because we've only finished the film in November, and we've done test screenings, but they're so artificial. And there was a good proportion of regular people from the public in last night. There were a lot of industry people, and I loved hearing their responses to the film. So, no, I enjoyed it. How was it for you?
It was really overwhelming and unexpected. You never know how audience would just take it. And from the very first moment, as soon as film started, how audience reacted, I was just amazed by this. And through audience's reaction, I was realizing quality of the film, if I can say that in English. Like, I realized through their reactions, because I'm in a film, so I had to, I wasn't. Anyway, shall I start again? So I'm starting again. What was the question?
What was it like being in a
No,
room?
it was really, really overwhelming and unexpected. And when audience reacts that way, you just lean back and enjoy the movie. And when it was over, I couldn't stay in the audience. I had to run out at least for 2 minutes.
You literally ran.
I literally ran. I behaved really crazy. I scared some people who were responsible for me, and I was like, I had to get out of here for 2 minutes. So they let me out of there for 2 minutes, and I was back. And then it started again to be overwhelming.
Because you're going to go on stage.
Yeah,
Yes.
It was amazing. I mean, this is all of our first Sundance. And it was amazing to just sit in a room with people who are here because they love film, and they're here to do nothing but see great films. And so it meant a lot that their response seemed to be so overwhelmingly positive in the room. It was a really special night.
Very special.
You know how I can tell everyone liked the movie? Because I didn't see anybody go into the bathroom in front of me. Like, everyone sat in their seats.
That's
And no
all
one
it
was
takes.
coughing or yawning. Like,
We're actually a little ahead. Everyone watching this interview will most likely not have seen the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I hate asking the generic question, but can you talk a little bit about what it's about?
Sure, yeah. It's based on a true story about two guys who are at the center of it, who worked to bring information back from the Soviet Union to the West, and that information ended up contributing to the end of the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's a kind of espionage drama, but it's not a conventional spy thriller because it's a much more emotional movie. It's really about relationships and the cost of heroism. That's what I think it's about, anyway.
100%. One of the things that I really was struck by the film is that this is not a film that relies on car chases or gunplay or any sort of set piece to sell action. This is about, as you said, the human cost and what really went on behind the scenes. Can you two sort of talk about that?
Everybody has a different relationship to patriotism, to what they view as a national interest or a collective interest of a greater good. And it costs something different for everyone. And what I love about the film is that it follows quite a few people's very different experiences surrounding the same event. And we did, as Dominic said, there was so much emphasis on the human factor. Before we started shooting the film, when we were in rehearsals, Dominic really hammered home the idea that in the 1960s, everybody had a very personal relationship to the Cold War and to the Cuban Missile Crisis. Everybody felt it on a daily basis. And nowadays, even though we are still at war, we have a somewhat more abstract relationship to that idea. Not every civilian knows somebody who's directly impacted by the war, and that makes it deeply personal on a level that is different than the way we might be experiencing something similar today.
for my character I play in the film, it was when we were rehearsing. I remember very well the day that Dominic told me how it really might feel to be a hero. And you were talking about the Greek masks and mythology, and you performed that mask somehow in front of me, and I never forget that, because it was so much pain in that, so much uncertainty, so much of it was something that was something between death and life, but full of pain. So hero is not that. Probably what we think, a slick and smart guy who just kills everyone. But which costs you pay, which price you pay for your decision to do something extraordinary, to break the rule, to cross the border, and get excited about that, and decide one day that I want to be remembered as a hero. On every cost, whatever it costs me, I will do that. So this determination was the first thing that we were just like intellectualized in the beginning, on the rehearsals, and then it wasn't. I wasn't thinking about it every day, but it was sitting in me. So I knew that this is guy who decided to be a hero, but he is in a pain. So that was a human. Little human touch about this guy that we don't see necessarily somebody who is made of iron and has a strong decisions and she knows what he does, but this trouble of conflict, inner conflict on each step he's taking was most important thing to build a character. And as soon as a character meets the character of Benedict Cumberbatch, the Greville Wynne, and the human warmth that sparkles there between them. I think that was just like how everything that it wasn't about spying anymore. It was just about these two men playing and gambling this incredible game. And I speak so much, sorry, but I tried to answer your question.
No, you did.
That's all.
One of the things is you're telling a story that's based on real events, but you're also making a 2-hour movie. So talk a little bit about the balancing of like fact and fiction. Being honest to what really happened, but also making a movie.
I think if you are telling a story, fictionalizing a story in drama, you obviously can't show the whole thing, so you have to compress, right? You have to join things together, combine characters, combine events, take bits out that aren't the centre of the story. But I think my responsibility as the director, and I think Tom O'Connor, our rather wonderful screenwriter, we felt that you got to honour the kind of essence of what happened. So in this movie, there are things that there are characters, for example, that are combined and compressed, but actually all the events did happen. And some of them we think happened. I mean, we've filled the gaps in. But I think if you're true to the essence of the characters, what they did, and the events, that's good enough. As you say, you've got to get it into 2 hours. Yeah. And that's what I think my responsibility is. Your responsibility has to be to the story in the end.
For all three of you, you obviously made this on a budget. Very clear. This is not some huge Marvel movie. So what was it? What was the thing that you were most, for you, what was the thing you were most nervous about pulling off with the limited time and money you had? And for the two of you guys, did you ever feel any of that stress of like making, not like, you know what I mean? Like that feeling of, anyway.
No, I mean,
No, of course not.
You know that there's a great production team behind the film when the actors have no idea whether our budget is $100 million or one. This team made the most of what you said was a quite limited budget for a really ambitious film, and we would never have known for a single second if we were under any kind of constraint at all. We were really given the gift of being able to do our job to the fullest extent every day, and it was incredible. I mean, some of those locations did the work of millions of dollars. We shot in Prague and in London, and there are pieces of those cities that remain completely preserved from this time. And even just driving down a certain section of a street that's been location scouted felt like it added incredible value to the film.
Oh, practical locations are everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you have limited money.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we had to create, I think it was challenging to create scale in terms of Moscow at that time. But those things were, I think for me, the most challenging thing is always schedule with shooting, because you just don't have very much time, and I think I'm naturally quite slow. I mean, there are some directors that are just boom, 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 and I always need a bit of time to see what the actors are doing and to try things. I'm very kind of empirical. I need to be there. I've obviously got ideas beforehand, but I like the time to explore and experiment a bit while we're shooting. So for me, it's always tricky. However, this film, we were only I felt like it wasn't like a nightmare schedule where we couldn't make it every day. it was okay. It was okay, but it's always. I always think I wouldn't mind a little bit more time. You could try another setup, or I don't know. You know.
But also, has anyone ever not said that? Like,
Yeah, of
even if you're
course.
on a Marvel
Yeah, of
movie, you're
course.
like, we didn't have enough time and we didn't have
it's
enough money,
perennial.
and every day feels rushed and up against the wire.
It's really funny though. I just spoke to the guys who did Bad Boys for Life, and they had like 90 million, and they said they were constantly up against the wall
Totally.
because everybody takes every bit of money they have, I think, and maxes that schedule out
Yeah.
to just put as much as they can on the screen.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just funny.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah.
says the same thing.
But also there are upsides to the limitations. I mean, I've seen it happen over and over again. You're running out of time, and then someone pulls something amazing out of the bag. I mean, Benedict is particularly good at that. In some ways, he's at his best at 10 to 6. It's like, you know, but it does, you know, you sometimes, you know, you just want a bit more time to try something. And other times someone just goes boom because they've only got one go, right? Or 2 goes or whatever. So it's, you know, it's part of the art of it, making that stuff work, you know.
This is something I'm always curious about. So a lot of directors, they want a certain amount of takes on every setup. And some actors, they talk about how their first take or their second take is when they have the most energy. And some are like, I could do this shit all day. Like, it's all good. So I'm curious, what do you typically like? And for the two of you, how do you typically feel like you got it on the second or third? Or do you know what I mean?
I think, you know what, I really like to learn, and you can learn quite quickly, like what people's rhythms are. And I often ask, if we're doing close-ups, I will say, would you like to go first, or would you like to go second, or how do you want to do it? Because sometimes actors do feel strongly, other times they really don't mind. Some people need a few goes to keep, you know, finding things. And others are actually really instinctive and get it very quickly. And they don't necessarily know that. So they might, like, I can think of actors who would deliver something amazing in the first 2 takes, ask for 5 more. And when you look at what you've put in the final cut, it's always from the first 2. So you got to just watch and learn what's right for people. I mean, and there's some people as well, they will do something one day and the next day it'll take 7 takes, you know? Depends what the scene is as well.
It also changes project to project. Like, I think I used to think that I was someone who was always better in my first couple of takes because I'd had a minute beforehand to focus. You know, like if it was a character that was particularly demanding, you know, you go off and you do whatever you need to do, and then you come and you are ready for that first take. But then I did The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and it's so complicated, and the rhythm is so different from anything else I've ever done, and there's so much camera choreography and background actor choreography that actually almost never do we feel like we have it till 6 or 7 takes in. It never happens on the first take. Something goes wrong, and we all need that rehearsal on film to get to a point where we feel great. So I love the opportunity to learn that I'm always wrong about what I need, and that the process changes every time because it means that we're doing things differently and taking different risks, and that's exciting.
Well, I worked with a couple of art house directors in different countries that they work like after 13th take they start to get what they want. It's hard work, but you learn so much through this, and it's always different. It varies from the film and project to project. With this particular film, I think was just beautiful how I come from the background that I was taught as an actor or raised, or that you absolutely are devoted to director. You don't just discuss things. You just do it first. You first do it and then you discuss it.
Right.
A director's dream.
Yeah, I am director's dream.
It's how he's been working for so long.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm not joking. It's really my general attitude is that I don't know anything. I come as all the plain paper. There's nothing, no idea in my head. I might have some ideas, but just I get most of the stuff from directors, and only they can push me to limits that I didn't know that I could go that far. So in that particular case with Dominic, it was very beautiful because of we understood each other from the day one that I auditioned. I think there was something that I felt that we were talking or the same language, or I knew what you were asking me to do. And I loved it because the audition felt like it was just like a rehearsal, or you were just playing a part, so it didn't feel... to cut it short, we didn't do many takes. There was some shots were really complicated because of choreography and camera movements, and you had to do them 20 times and you hate it. But then there were the sequences, like we shot the scene. I'm not supposed to tell a lot about the movie. No, I mean not the story.
I don't think we want to spoil everything.
No,
but,
we're not
you know.
spoiling this. But just the scene with me and Rachel's character in the film that we rehearsed a certain way, and then you decided to turn it upside down. And I was like, in the first moment, I was horrified. Like, just we did 3-4 takes before, and it didn't work. Something was missing. Something was missing, and I didn't know what was missing, of course. So then you came to me and said, "Okay, forget everything. Let's do it this way. Just this way. You don't want to be with them." So it just changed everything. It was hard to get there. It took us few takes, more additional takes, but I hope we landed there where you wanted us to.
Congrats on the movie.
Thank
for
you.
real. Pardon me for not knowing. Is it an acquisition title, or is it for sale here at Sundance, or is it?
Yes, it is. It's for sale.
Yeah, I'm confident after last night that people are talking about it.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Let's hope so.
I'm just looking at your face to see how large the smile is.
Buy our movie.
Right. I am so not worried about you guys.
Good. That's nice to hear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Seriously, great job.
Thank
on
you
the
for
film.
having
Thank
us.
you.
And I hope you guys have a great rest of the festival.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
very much.